It's like the company is trying to annoy us right here. It's ridiculous. See, this is the whole thing. This is why I'm sick to death of this whole authority thing. Remember Survivor Series? Remember Survivor Series there? That was fantastic. When Sting came out at Survivor Series, that was going to be the test for me right there. See, because up until that point, I was like, oh gosh. You know, WrestleMania that year, Undertaker lost and all that jazz. Undertaker lost, and so I was kind of going through the motions with the other pay-per-views there. You know, I mean, I didn't mind. I was going over to my friend's house, as I did tonight. So it was cool. But Survivor Series was going to be the deciding factor for me initially. So I was like, all right, if the Authority wins here, then frankly, I don't see any reason why I should keep watching. But then what happened? Sting came out. He helped out Dolph Ziggler. He got the drop on Triple H. Ziggler got the pin, and then the Authority was gone. They were out of power. And that made up for everything for me right there. Oh man, I remember me and my friends, we did Pepsi shots after that night. That was phenomenal. That redeemed it. Just so happens I was wearing my Sting t-shirt that night too. Not because I expected him to show up, but because it was my way of celebrating the fact that he was going to be a secret character in WWE 2K15. So, yeah. And Dolph Ziggler, that wound up being a great match. You know, Dolph Ziggler was the sole survivor after wrestling the match of his career, if not his life, right there. That was the match that was like, yeah, that's the match that's going to really make Dolph. And that was awesome. That was great. And, you know, everything was right with the world again. I was like, okay, my faith has now been restored. And then what happens a month later? After many hint droppings that John Cena's the only one who can bring the Authority back, why would they keep on saying that? Isn't the Authority... Why does John Cena have that power right there? Doesn't that power go back to Vince or something? Why? What happens? The Authority comes back. Yes, Seth Rollins puts John Cena in a position where either John Cena bring the Authority back or Seth Rollins breaks Edge's neck. Which even on that I found a little strange because last I recall John Cena and Edge were arch enemies right there. So why would John Cena want to spare Edge in that sense? But that's another story. So John Cena brings the Authority back, and now the Authority is back stronger than ever right there. And then what do they do the next night? Excuse me, the next week on Raw? They pretty much get in a DeLorean, gun into 88 miles per hour, go back to Survivor Series, and undo all the results. Okay, they don't do it exactly like that, but what they do is they have the winners of the winning team go into the matches against the people that they had fought against, or I think it was maybe other people too. I'm having a hard time remembering at this point. But they put the winners in pretty much squash matches where they were the squashed ones. They would have them get beaten. They'd lose their titles if they had any. And then by the end of the night, Shao Kahn might as well have stood up and said, "Finish them!" as Stephanie and Triple H gave them the "You're fired." So pretty much it was like the Authority won Survivor Series. Sting's contribution? Nothing. It meant nothing. Dolph Ziggler fighting his heart out? Nullified. Pretty much all the good that was done by Survivor Series just wiped away, just like that. It was pretty much retconned right there. That was utter garbage. That was awful. But you know what? Sting is still here. He's going to teach Triple H a lesson. Just like the NWO before this, he's going to make sure the Authority gets put to the side, or at least taken down a peg right there. But of course that didn't happen tonight. And that's the problem. The Authority is too strong right here. They're made to be invincible. This is ridiculous. You know, Ric Flair was one of the greatest heels of all time, but even he got beat once in a while. Hollywood Hogan, he was one of the greatest heels of all time, but he got beat once in a while. You know, all of them, they're Vince McMahon himself. He would even get beaten once in a while, you know? Even though he was the guy to beat. He's been the Emperor Palpatine of wrestling since who knows how long, since like 1998. Or 97 if you count the whole, you know, Montreal fiasco. But, you know, all the great heels, just because a heel loses doesn't make them weak. You know, it helps further the story. But there's been storytelling already going on. The story, and I've read people say, hey, you know what? It's good that they have the Authority brought back, because at least they have a story now. Alright, let me give you a couple of hypotheticals here. Say Sting, excuse me, Dolph Ziggler, because in all fairness, you know, Ziggler was the one on the team that got the win. Even though I love Sting, and he did, you know, provide the turning point. He provided the turning point for this. It was kind of like Dolph Ziggler was Luke Skywalker and Sting was Han Solo, and it was the Battle of Yavin right there. You know, Sting came in to make the save, but Ziggler fired the proton torpedo, if you want to look at it that way, which blew up the Death Star. But as we all know, Vader survived that, and in this case, Triple H, you know, he got back eventually. But instead of it being that, though, why not have it be like, okay, Triple H and Stephanie, yeah, they're out of power now, but now they're on the outside. They're going to try and finagle their way back in. But John Cena and company could be like, sorry guys, but it's our turn now. Bye-bye. Or if they wanted to have it be like, all right, Triple H, yeah, you can come back, but only as a wrestler. You won't have any power. You're just going to be a wrestler. And guess what, Stephanie? You too. You're going to compete as well. And there's a few young ladies who would like to have some strong words with you as well. And then put her in, you know, diva matches against AJ Lee or Paige or any of the other divas that she's wronged over the past while. You know, there's a couple of different scenarios right there. But you don't always have to have an evil authority figure thing. TNA doesn't have that going on right now, and they're doing just fine. I don't care what anybody says. I think TNA right now has the superior product. I mean, did you see the Kurt Angle-Bobby Lashley match that aired last week? That was a masterpiece. That's already a candidate for Match of the Year in my book. Jeff Hardy and Cowboy James Storm, they had a great match in a steel cage in this past Impact. Awesome. I mean, Impact has never let me down, I'm glad to say. Even if they've had weak nights, you know, like weak matches and stuff, you know, it was like, that could have been better. But then that was it right there. WWE, though, they should be held to a higher standard, you would think. But they have been making me feel like, why am I even watching this? This is like waste of time. Yeah, I get to be with my friends and we get to have our own fun, but if I'm feeling thankful that I didn't order something or, you know, pay for it in any capacity, network or otherwise, if I'm feeling thankful for that, that's a problem. And this is why, you know, if Sting can't win at WrestleMania after all this hype, and this is consistent with the way WWE has always treated guys from the outside, legends or otherwise, even that, the commentators were tearing Sting down as well. You heard JBL like, oh, Sting was great over there, but that doesn't mean anything here or anything like that. And then it's like, no, Sting has done more in his career than you ever did, JBL. So he should give you a death drop just for saying that. I know you're trying to be the heel announcer and all that, but even the other week when Stephanie was talking down to Sting right there, saying, you know, giving her just the exact speech. This went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. Stephanie was going to say, yeah, you were great over at WCW, but you got to earn your respect over here. You know, everything you did over there means nothing and stuff like that. It's over here where it really counts and stuff. And you got to earn our respect. You got to earn Triple H's respect and stuff like that. It's Sting. As the announcers always said, this is Sting. Sting was winning world championships when Triple H was still terrorizing other companies. See what I did there? Yeah, Sting has been a legend. Sting was already, he was at the top of his game when Triple H was still doing the bow thing all the time. When he was the pre-game, if you want to call him that. That's what I call him when he was the Greenwich Blue Blood. So for Triple H and JBL to trash Sting and Stephanie to trash Sting like that, it's one thing if you're going to do that, but then eventually, you know, things work out well. If you're going to tear Sting down verbally like that, then at least have him win, have him go over. Then it would all seem like, haha, I'll show you, or something like that. Yeah, you say that now, but just keep on talking. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove to you what you already should know, and that the fans already know, or something like that. That there's a reason why I'm considered the icon of pro wrestling. But what do? They have him lose. Daniel Bryan, anybody? Remember? B-plus player. You're a B-plus player, Daniel Bryan. Yeah, Daniel Bryan's going to silence them when he wins. Then the pay-per-view comes. Huh, he lost. I don't believe you did that. And then, oh, okay, but he's going to get another chance. You're a B-plus player. I'm going to beat you this time. Nope, he loses again. It's like, what part don't you understand? You're a B-plus player. Again, the invincible bad guys. This does not benefit anyone. All right? They don't let the good guys get on a winning streak. You know, they don't let them gain any momentum. They let them... the washing machine likes to go on by itself every so often, and given the time of night, yeah, that combustible elements. Anyway, so it's just, this was just so stupid. I mean, I have never been legitimately upset with a wrestling pay-per-view in my life. Not for WWF, WCW, not even WWE. I mean, before this, WWE pay-per-views in recent times, like in the recent year or two, were making me annoyed. But at the end of the day, I could kind of get over it because it was it was WWE guys doing that to other WWE guys. You know, so it was like, all right, it's all within the same thing, so, you know, whatever. But now you're going to bring in Sting, one of the greatest of all time, the only guy who never set foot in WWE. You finally have him come in. You know, he finally agrees to a deal with you after years of saying thanks but no thanks. He finally agrees to something with you, and this is how you treat him? This is what you do? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, WWE? This is just hypocrisy at its worst right here. Yeah. WWE has officially done their variant of the finger poke of doom as far as I'm concerned. For all the flack WCW got, all the flack TNA gets, WWE is just as deserving. They give as good as they get. You know? WWE is just as deserving of being accused of the very same things right here. It's time people start coming out of the woodwork and admitting it. And stop being sheep, stop being fanboys, stop kissing corporate butt. Alright? This is just disgusting. I'm not going to be watching Raw tomorrow night. I'm not, honestly. I'm going to be boycotting it. I don't know for how long. Maybe for a week, maybe two, maybe for a month, maybe for a year. I don't know. But all I know is I am not watching Raw tomorrow. I'll probably watch Gotham or something like that. I hear it's a pretty good show. Or maybe I'll just find something else to do. But I am going to continue watching Impact because I have really been enjoying those shows. Those have been really good. They have yet to make me feel like, why am I watching this? Yeah, never when I watched TNA did I feel embarrassed to be watching it. Or WCW. Even on their weakest days, I never felt bad about watching WCW. WWE, though, it's actually getting hard to admit that I watch it. But I got a feeling that that's not going to be something that I have to talk about very soon. So, well, what did you guys think about WrestleMania 31? Do you feel the same way I did? Do you think that this really was best for whatever? Let me know what you think. Right away. Let's hear from you. And until next time, I'm just going to say, demand greatness, everyone. You deserve it. But I don't think you're going to find it here. Not at WWE. Because that's not where it is. Good night. And God bless.